Good evening and welcome to the latest TV news. My name's Mike Mendoza and here are the headlines for this evening. Tributes have been paid to a popular actress who died at her Brighton home. Gearing up for action, we speak to those behind the Brighton speed trials as hundreds of cars roll onto the seafront. Plus, we look back at some of our best stories of the past week. Later, sport have all the weekend's action and we'll have the weather where we are. But first, tributes have been paid to a TV actor who died at her Brighton home. Claire Cathcart, who rose to prominence with her roles in BBC series called The Midwife and Doctors, has died last night. The 48-year-old first enjoyed TV success in the late 80s and has also appeared in The Bill, Lovejoy, Goodnight Sweetheart, Father Ted and Holby City. The cause of her death has not been confirmed. Miranda Hart, the comedian who appeared with Claire in Call the Midwife, paid tribute to her on Twitter. Miranda said she was reeling from the news. Brighton Hove is known for its peaceful seaside reputation, but this weekend the roar of engines and the smell of petrol will draw tens of thousands of petrol heads to the city. The annual speed trials, featuring more than 200 motorbikes and cars, takes place this weekend on Madeira Drive. Latest TV's James Dunham spoke to the organisers who, despite some safety concerns, are revving up for a successful event.
On your marks, get set, go! Brighton and Hove prepares to welcome hundreds of motorists and car fanatics to the city. It's the weekend of the annual Brighton Speed Trials, an event where motorists compete against the clock in an array of vehicles.
We've got roughly about 215 cars and motorbikes competing in 15 or 16 different classes. They will start at 9 o'clock and run through till 6 o'clock in the evening, and it's a timed quarter-of-a-mile sprint, a single car on the track at one time. And at the end of the day, the top 6 bikes and the top 6 cars will have a run-off to see who's the sort of the champion of the day. There's some real Italian supercars down there, like Lamborghini Aventadors. There's the vintage cars, or pre-1958 cars. There'll be Bentleys, old Bentleys down here running, and we've got an electric car as well running the course.
The event, which has been around in Brighton since 1905, encompasses a route along the seafront. 2 years ago, the event made the headlines for the wrong reasons, following the accidental death of a competitor whose sidecar hit a bump in the road. This weekend, this part of Brighton's seafront is set to be a hive of activity as hundreds of cars fly down from one end of Madeira Drive to the other. Thousands of fans are also expected to watch the event from the sidelines. But after controversy in the last few years, just what precautions have been put in place to ensure this year's event is safe?
We've worked very closely with the Safety Advisory Group and the Council and East Sussex Fire and Rescue, and we produced an event management plan which has been approved, and the Motorsport Association come down to check out the track and make sure that all the safety features that we put in.
There are safety aspects. I shouldn't underestimate how important those things are to us, especially after what happened.
With engines go and foot pedals touching the floor, the event is set to be as exhilarating for those taking part as it is for those on the sidelines. This is James Dunham for latest TV News.
A 200-year-old magical secret path could be shut after the council said it was attracting antisocial behaviour. The path, which connects one end of Hanover Crescent Gardens to the other, could be planted over if the Private Estates Committee go ahead and do so. Residents, police and Brighton and Hove City Council have approached the Hanover Crescent Committee as they thought it was the place where undesirable behaviour was taking place. Residents have been sent a questionnaire for their views on the closure. Police are hoping to trace this man who is wanted in connection with fraud in Brighton. On July the 24th at about 5:30 p.m, a woman in her 80s in Rushlake Road, Brighton, received a call on their landline from a man who claimed to be from a fraud department. The man told the victim to call her bank, which he did, and has some details in her card's PIN. The cards then collected by taxi, but the woman's partner became suspicious and contacted police. The card was then used at Asda and Argos in Hollingbury. Cash was also withdrawn at Sainsbury's Cash Point in Preston Road between 6 p.m. and 7:30 p.m. Anyone with information is asked to call 101. Residents had tried to block travellers from moving onto a popular park. Caravans began to arrive at Stanmer Park yesterday morning. Locals reported that one resident tried to prevent the vehicles from moving onto the land. Latest TV understands 5 are currently at the back of the park. Brighton and Hove City Council said it was aware of the encampment and monitoring the situation with Sussex Police. And now it's time to look back at some of our favourite stories of the past week. Well, it's one of Brighton's busiest roads, linking the city centre with schools, big businesses and the area's biggest hospital. But Edward Street is going through a transformation as part of a multi-million-pound project to boost sustainable transport. Halfway through construction, Latest TV's Matt King spoke to some of those affected.
The roadworks are ruining our business. That's the claim from local business owners on Edward Street. Part of the £3.4 million investment into public transport improvement, Brighton Hove City Council claim the changes will revolutionise bus service links and make things safer for pedestrians. But for some residents, they say it's really affecting their business.
Well, it's just frustrating, and the fact that the works seem to happen for maybe an hour in the morning and then an hour in the afternoon at rush hour. Not a lot of work going on during the week. Funnily enough, more work seems to happen at the weekends and on bank holidays. So, you know, it's very, very frustrating for us, the amount of noise, the extent of noise, and the timings of the noise. And I'm sure most business owners around here are finding the same as causing a massive disturbance to us all.
The improvement works have been ongoing since November last year and are expected to conclude in December. Currently, the council is in stage 2, with further disruption set to take place in the next few months as resurfacing the pavements takes place. For business owners, they want to put a stop to the roadworks, as they say it's crippling part of the town.
We have been working our butts off, bringing new stuff into the pub, which should be building our business. Instead, we're just about taking the same as before. The Verdict Cafe 2 doors up, he's down 2/3. Jimmy's Hairdressers is down about 40%. Even Pete, the newsagent on the corner, he's down about 25%. It's crippling the town. The amount of people who do come in here and say they're not going to bother coming back as tourists to Brighton is ridiculous.
The council have said there will be huge benefits once the work is completed, including improved air quality, better transport reliability and safer roads. This is Matt King for the latest TV News.
While traders are far from happy at the disruption, Ian Davey, the council's lead member for transport, told Latest TV the end result in Edward Street would be worth it.
So, Councillor Ian Davey, let's talk about Edward Street. How are you feeling about the plans that are there at the moment?
Well, I think it's progressing really well. I really understand the concerns of local businesses. I know it's very difficult for them in this period of disruption. But yeah, the project's on schedule. It was always needed to take about a year. It's a really major piece of work, but it's progressing well. And I'm confident that once it's complete, we will see a real major refurbishment of the area, and the local businesses will benefit from that.
Let's talk about the whole scheme. It's part of a wider scheme, £3.4 million. Where's that money going to?
Well, the money's going in a whole variety of different areas. The physical works are mainly taking place along Edward Street, but there's also working with the bus companies. There's been support for some particular bus routes and some improvements down the Lewis Road as well. So they allowed us to enhance the Lewis Road projects with the new bus stops and so new physical infrastructure. So it's not all about bus lanes. It's actually about improving the general bus environment in the city. So making better use of that space, making it work better for bus users, making it work better for cyclists and better for pedestrians will create a much improved area which everybody will benefit from.
And now it's time for our national and international roundup. US President Barack Obama says a core coalition is ready to join the US in military action against Islamic State militants in Iraq. Speaking at the NATO summit in Wales, he said that a core coalition had been formed to tackle the threat. The group is thought to include the US, Britain, Australia, Canada, Denmark, France and Germany. Sierra Leone has announced a 4-day lockdown to try to tackle the Ebola disease. From 18 to 21st of September, people will not be allowed to leave their homes, a senior official said. The aim is to allow health workers to isolate new cases to prevent the disease from spreading further. About 2,000 people are thought to have died from the condition in West Africa. Archaeologists have unearthed a Stylex wax tablet at the site of a Roman fort in Hadrian's Wall in Northumberland. Believed to be about from the year 120 AD, the tablet is one of 12 found at Vindolanda this year. The site near Hexham has previously revealed gold and silver coins and other artefacts of the Roman army. Coming up after the break, ancient history. We visit an archaeological dig in Whitehawk that sheds light on the lifestyles of some of Brighton's first settlers. Later sport, catch up with all the weekend's sporting action, plus we have the weather where you are. Welcome back to latest TV news. Coming up, we continue our look at some of our favourite stories of the week, including a neighbourhood watch with a difference, plus latest sport looking at this weekend's action. And we'll have the weather where we are. But first, we've all heard about Neighbourhood Watch, but one Brighton resident has taken the concept to a whole new level by installing a communal clock above their door. Latest TV's Jodie Doherty-Cove spoke to those behind the Hanovian timepiece.
When the big hand strikes 12, all of Hanover will now know about it, following the installation of a new clock. One resident on Islingwood Road has taken it upon themselves to become the local timekeeper by putting a timepiece on the side of their new home.
Well, my name's Elizabeth, and the clock was actually my boyfriend Joel's idea. It was a Christmas present for his dad, because his dad really loves the place. It's his dad's home. I'm just lucky enough to be temporarily here, and we thought it would go really nicely with all the colours. It was something that he'd been thinking about for a long time. He thought it'd be a really nice present and quite a unique, special present. You know, what do you get your dad for Christmas? You start running out of ideas after a while, and we just thought it would be, you know, a really nice gift. So my boyfriend found it online, and it was quite a long while before we did finally put it up on the wall, but it looks really great where it is. It's just battery operated. It's kind of all hidden behind the cream parts of the clock so that you don't see it, and it looks like it's quite organically growing out of the wall in a way. It looks, you know, like it's meant to be there, which is quite nice.
There's no doubt the array of colours fits in with the ethos of Hanover. However, does this new ticking feature chime with local residents?
Yeah, we've had a couple of neighbours who've mentioned it. Either they've maybe seen us in a local pub and they've heard us talking about it, or they've recognised us coming out of the door and said, "Oh, is yours the clock? It's really lovely." And friends of ours who've lived in Hanover but didn't know that this was our house were talking about, "Oh, have you seen the house with the clock?" And we were like, "Yeah, that's our house." So that was really, really lovely. It's nice that it's made everyone else happy. You know, we just did it as a Christmas present for Julius, but it's great to hear that it's made Hanover happy as well.
So if you're ever in the area, watch out for the wall watch. This is Jodie Doherty-Cove for latest TV news.
What a great clock. Market traders normally only have to deal with cardboard boxes, but after opening a few special containers on hit television programme Deal or No Deal, one Brighton trader is now living her dream. Latest TV's Jodie Doherty-Cove reports.
I'm Beth, and this is Unit 22.
So you're going to be on Deal or No Deal next week, I believe.
Yeah, I've been on for a month now nearly, and my show's on next Thursday. I was just watching it one day, and I'd already applied to have a space here, and I didn't have any money at all. And I thought, oh well, why not try and enter? And I got on, and and I managed to get enough money to open the unit, so it was brilliant.
So Deal or No Deal was kind of like got you the place.
Saved me, yeah, yeah, it did, yeah. Well, we've been open for 2 months. We make the majority of the stock ourselves as a collective of people that make bits and bobs. We have 50s fashion. I do the children's fairy dresses, which I've been doing for years and years, and then we have other women that do other designs. And yeah, hopefully we're just going to champion Brighton designers and move forward with it. It's not going too badly, considering we've only been here for 2 months. We've had a lot of positive reaction, which is great, and lots of regulars coming in to see what we're up to, and yeah, it's been lovely.
So what's Noel like?
He's all right. Yeah, managed to get him in a fairy dress. You have to see what he looks like on Thursday in it. Yeah, it was good. Yeah.
Any hints about how much he got?
No, none. Nothing.
Enough to open the shop?
Enough to open the shop, yeah.
Thank you very much for speaking to us.
No problem.
And remember, you can keep in touch with us on Twitter at LatestTVBTN and on Facebook via Latest TV. All our clips are also available online. Head over now to www.thelatest.tv to see more. That's all from slightly cloudy Brighton. Hope you have a lovely weekend. Now it's over to latest sport.
Good afternoon and welcome to latest sport news. I'm Tim Embleton. Gordon Gray is facing a battle with two Championship centre-backs for a place in Gordon Strachan's Scotland side to face Germany tomorrow. Russell Martin of Norwich and Grant Hanley of Blackburn are also in the running for the two available spots, with Strachan widely expected to favour them and leave Greer on the bench. Aaron Hughes is also expected to be in action for Northern Ireland when they face Hungary. The last time Northern Ireland won an away match was 4 years ago against Slovenia, a match which Hughes also played in. England beat India yesterday by 41 runs in the fifth one-day international at Headingley. England had already lost the series, but Joe Root hit 113 off 108 deliveries to steer his side to victory. Ben Stokes, who hit 33 off 23 deliveries, went on to take 3 wickets as India were bowled out well short of their 295 target. England face India in a T20 match at Edgbaston tomorrow. Serena Williams is on course for her third successive US Open title after beating Russia's Ekaterina Makarova. The world number one, who's seeking her 18th Grand Slam title, will face 10th seed Caroline Wozniacki in Sunday's final. Wozniacki was granted passage to the final after her opponent Peng Shuai had to retire halfway through the second set. Albion goalkeeper Christian Walton kept a clean sheet in goal for England under-20s last night against Romania. Walton was rarely threatened in goal as he produced a good display in front of Roy Hodgson. With the score at 4-0, Christy Pym of Exeter City was brought on to replace the Albion stopper. The match ultimately ended 6-0. Jake Forster-Kasky was an unused substitute in Gareth Southgate's England under-21 side, which beat Lithuania 1-0. Our sports editor, Jayla Gates, started his basketball project in this morning's matchday breakfast, where he investigates the levels of participation in basketball in Brighton. Here's a look at what will happen in next week's episode.
So, to recap from last week, we took 10 kids from Carlton Hill Primary School to a Brighton Cougars basketball training session at the University of Sussex campus. Now, these kids had never played basketball before in that kind of setting, so it was an experiment all round to see how it would go. This is what they thought of it. Watch, I'm gonna shoot again. LeBron! One day it will go in. And what about you, Mr. Conrad? Do you feel like you've improved anything since we've been doing this?
Yeah, I think I've improved because I didn't really know how to play basketball before we started doing it here, and then the Cougars session really helped me with my shooting.
I think it's really important to develop, not just stay the same all the time. And I think I definitely have developed. The mini matches helped compare yourself to other people, but not in a bad way.
Because obviously there are going to be people that are at different levels of ability, so it must have been really good for you to see that sort of stuff.
Really good to watch some people that were better, to learn from them.
Now, if we had a session like that here at the school, how would you feel about that?
Good, because you can get better other people that didn't go, they can improve as well.
What do you think?
Yeah, definitely. Same as Riaz, because people who didn't have the opportunity to go, they can improve. They can do the same.
That's exactly the key point that we need. Is we need people in the schools who have the interest and the confidence to present the game to children. That's how we're going to grow the game. That's how we're going to give children more choices when it comes to sports.
Well done, Diana. Oh, hello. It's like the Globetrotters over here.
How you feeling?
You alright?
Good.
It was fun.
I'm glad.
Except he kept on stopping it. Yeah.
You kept on stopping it?
Yeah, every 10 minutes he stopped it for 10 minutes. Yeah, because we were never...
Do you know why? Look how tired you are now. If you hadn't stopped it, you'd be melting.
Yeah. You'd be on the floor, you'd be a puddle.
Yeah.
Today's non-league day all around England. With the higher leagues taking a break due to international fixtures, it gives conference teams such as Whitehawk, Lewis and Peacehaven and Telscombe the opportunity to grab some of the attention that they sometimes miss out on. Whitehawk are away to Bath City in the Conference South. Lewis are at home to Wingate and Finchley in the Ryman Premier. Peacehaven and Telscombe face Bury Town and Worthing take on Hastings. Conference sponsors Vanarama will make a donation to Prostate Cancer UK based on the attendance of all conference matches. That's all your news headlines for today. Don't forget to check us out on Twitter at @LatestSportTV. Now let's have a look at the weather where we are.
Latest weather brought to you by the Brighton i360. Glide up to 450 feet for a sky-high view of the weather.
Well, it may be September, but Sussex continues to have a warm feel to it. A band of cloud that has straddled the rest of the country refuses to sit above us. With the isobars remaining spread, it means we can bask in a warm climate for a few more days. Looking at the temperatures, once again Brighton is leading the charge, a maximum of 21, which is the warmest in the country. Who needs Sardinia when you live in Sussex? Hey! With the sun peeking out every now and again, all you need is green finger types. You're going to enjoy the garden. No need to bring the tomato plants in. Just sit back in the deck chair and enjoy it while you can. There'll be a slight breeze from the northeast, but nothing to worry about. Looking ahead, temperatures will remain around about 20. Expect some rain towards the end of next week. Enjoy your weekend, folks.
Latest weather brought to you by the Brighton i360. Glide up to 450 feet for a sky-high view of the weather.